Hello, and welcome to HearthBreakers, the podcast where hearts are broken and cards are played. On today's episode, we have an introduction, followed up by a swift meta discussion, talking about the newest and bravest decks that you'll see on the ladder. Then we'll go over to to talk a bit about the ladder season, which just started, which is the first official ladder season that has been in Hearthstone, so that's exciting. And we'll finish it up as usual with some card discussion where we'll talk about the neutral 2-drops. So, Michael, what are you drinking and how is your day?
My day is just fine. I'm drinking Royal Pilsner. It's standard Danish stuff. And people who might have paid attention have or might have noticed that it has been royal each time, and that is simply because those are the beers that are constantly on sale. So my cheap ass is getting those beers, man. But they are all different kinds, I guess. In Hearthstone, I guess I've played a little bit in the new season, but otherwise, like not too much. Didn't participate in last mana grind, so nothing much to say there.
Cool. Well, Henry Cater, how are you? And what are you doing?
I'm fine. I haven't been able to play too much Hearthstone because of the release of Diablo 3. Of course, I've been using some time on that. Yeah. But my plan is to try and reach Legendary this season. Actually, put some effort into it, play some games. That's also because now we can actually get some card backs, which we love.
Cheers. All right, so Christopher, new room. What's happened, and what are you drinking?
I just finished my last exam today, which is nice. Then before the recent, I got up to Legend rank 6 and dropped a bit after that. But all in all, I'm perfectly happy with how the season worked out. I ran out of orange juice or multi-fruit juice, so I'm drinking water, which I'm a bit sad about. But I guess
that sounds utterly depressing.
Yeah, it is. But I'll live, I hope.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I passed my exam, so I probably will live.
Nice. So, as usual, go get your drink, just as I have. Open it, and we'll get to talk a bit about Hearthstone. So, going over to the meta discussion, I think we will mostly talk about some decks here. A few standout decks, including 2 of mine. I think the what's the first deck that we're gonna take a look at?
Well, we can follow up on a classic from last week.
Oh. Talk 2 weeks about the same deck. We've never done that before.
What is this heresy?
Oh, it's the Mage deck.
Oh. So, this is of course me and Michael's secret Mage deck, which we talked about last week, but since then it's improved a lot. Many cards have been changed, and yeah, generally I feel like this version is much better than last week, and it's given some pretty good results in Legend last season. So,
what exactly have you changed?
Well, I think we took out 1 polymorph, and I think we took out 1 secret. I think
you took out Vaporize and added a counter spell.
Yeah, that too. Like we played 2 counter spells and 2 mirror entities because they're simply just the best secrets. And we added I actually added a Ragnaros.
Yeah, it seems like you also added 2 acolytes instead of the the draw 2 thing.
Yeah, and it's simply because I don't know. In theory, you should have enough minions early game to fill out your 2 and 3 drops. But many times I found myself with Arcane Intellect being my only turn 3 play. And I was getting kind of sad about that. So just dumping the Acolyte turn 3, it wasn't too bad. Like it's pretty good. You'll usually get some card draw out of it. Sometimes even 2 cards. So works out for the better, I think. And with the added Ragnaros and Flame Strikes, you actually have a bit late game potential as well, where you would usually use the Arcane Ints like before.
Oh.
The Ragnaros has usually been a very, very good finisher in the deck. Like, randomly give him 8 damage can often give you the victory, so...
When I look at it, I know I'm a bit biased, but I'm thinking Archmage Antonidas over Rag maybe?
Yeah, that might be good, but I don't really play that many early spells. I put in the Arcane Missiles instead of Squires because well, yeah, it gets mana warm up, and the Arcane Missiles usually did the same thing the Squire was going to do anyway, and they're a bit more flexible, so I like them better, I think.
I basically hit it on Squire enough for him to change it.
Yeah, that's the Michael hate that we love.
Yeah.
But else, I don't think there's many changes. I don't think the last deck had Argent Commanders either. It's also a really good card for the deck because you can push for damage with it. You can trade, get board control. Like, it's just versatile, and you really need versatile cards. Like, you can either go for board control or you can go for face with the deck, and the commander can do both. So it's a good card. Cool.
Yeah, one note.
Not too shabby.
This is not a meta deck. It's like a rogue deck, but
Yeah.
for Dario it seemed to work out really well. I think some of the other decks we have will be more meta-ish.
Yeah, definitely. It was just basically to get back from last week how the deck has evolved.
Yeah.
And the 2 ooze is perhaps a bit outdated actually right now. I don't think I would play 2 ooze anymore. But many people have actually asked me how the win rate is against Hunter, and surprisingly I have had a really good win rate against Hunter, like I think 80% win rate or something.
Oh.
And I've met it a lot. Basically, like, I just go for face and I outrush them. Like, I'm not really afraid of Unleash the Hounds. I just commit many minions to the board, and then I just go for the face, and usually you can finish them off faster than they can finish you off. Especially Amani Berserker is really good, because if you put it down and they have a secret, and if it's explosive trap, the Amani gets 5 damage instead of and it doesn't die. So yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun to win with a new kind of unique deck that's not like meta. So, do you think you're going to keep playing this deck? Do you think it has?
Yeah, I'll definitely keep trying it. But yeah, recently I've been playing another deck that I think we will look at now.
Yeah. I can find my mouse. There we go.
They call him the cat.
The what?
The cat, because you're finding your mouse.
Oh,
The jokes.
The jokes. So yes.
Unbelievably good.
okay, Dario.
The joke master.
This
That's right.
deck.
Yeah. Any comments?
It looks like. Oh, that was the token.
This is
druid
the token.
with wall up engine
Yep. So
Yeah,
basically,
and Starfire.
yeah. Basically, the thought process behind this deck was kind of the same that I had about the Zoo/Murloc deck that I made, where I was kind of like, well, the Zoo has some cards that I really don't like, and Murlocs have some cards that I really don't like, so if I just take out all the cards that I disliked and I thought were bad in those decks and put them together, maybe it would work out. And that's kind of what I did for this Druid deck, which is kind of a mixture between Token Druid and the Watcher Druid. So basically the idea is that the Watchers help you in the matchups where you are weak with Token. And also if you have a Watcher with Taunt, you can basically go for all-out aggression, and they have to get through your Watcher before they can actually get through your little minions. So you can buff them pretty well.
That's true.
And it's actually the reason why I wanted to play this deck was kind of because I played Watcher Druid, and I was like, I really want to play a Druid deck where you can play 2 Savage Draws in, because I thought like most of the games I would win on Savage Draw even if I didn't have Force of Nature. So that was kind of the goal, that it had to have a lot of minions on the board for Savage Draw to be effective all the time. And I've sort of shuffled between Imp Masters and Earthring Farseer, where I don't think Imp Master is that great. It's less good against Hunter, and the Farseer is better against Hunter, but I don't know, sometimes I feel like Imp Master is better, sometimes the Farseer is better. It's kind of like I switch it around a bit. I think this version is with 2 Imp Masters, but yeah.
What about Scenarios? I see you don't play him.
Yeah, I used to play him in the start, but he felt kind of out of place. I never really played him. I would usually win before turn 9. As you can see, it's quite aggro.
I see.
Yeah, and if you even get to turn 9, it's not exactly...
Yeah,
you don't want that, right? You want to win beforehand.
Yeah, and you don't really want to spend your turn 9 on playing Scenarios. It's kind of... Unless you're really behind and you kind of want to get some board control.
I don't know. I just had an idea, like if you have board control, you'd be able to buff lots of small minions with Scenarios.
Yeah, but you do that turn 9. Like, you would much rather, like, I'll give them Savage Draw turn 7 or something and then go for game.
I guess you have the Force of Nature Savage Draw play turn 9 as well.
Yeah, and with 2 Savage Draws, you'll usually have one of them in the hand most of the game, so you can always push for damage. So, yeah. And the Starfire is kind of like a thing, because I saw it I kind of got the idea from an arena run where I played Druid, and I was kind of like, well, I guess it's kind of good in this deck, because Swipe is really good for like finishing off opponents through taunts, because they will usually, like if you're ahead, they will try to come back by playing taunts that you have to get through. But if you got them low enough and you have like a Swipe plus Starfire, and you can like give 9 damage burst out of nowhere. And Starfire is also one of those cards that are just really, really versatile. Like you can use it for many things. Clear a minion, draw a card. It's just good in general, I think. Yeah. But I don't think I would play 2.
I tested this deck for you, I guess, a couple of times. And Starfire really, it really shined. It's an underrated card, really.
Yep.
If you have momentum and you just need the burst either on face or to like remove a Testingo or something.
Yeah, if they go like if you have like 3 minions on the board and they play a taunt, and you like the only thing you do is just Starfire at 1 taunt, you get to draw a card which can possibly be Savage Draw, and you get to push for more damage. So it's kind of like, yeah, I just think it's a good card.
I think my theory behind Starfire is that if you're behind, it's kind of bad, because you can clean 1 card, and it doesn't really give you board pressure. But if you're ahead, it can remove the stuff on the field, and you still have your stuff on the field to hit directly.
Yeah, you're definitely right. That's also one of the thoughts behind it, because this deck is basically made to be ahead. Like, you basically play to be ahead early and mid game, and that's why Starfire is really good at that point. So yeah, overall it did really well. I went from Legend rank 300, I think I was up around 20. Without a single loss. I think I was like 9 wins in a row with this deck, this exact list. I think I might have played 1 Earthen Ring instead of 1 Imp Master though. But anyway, yeah, with this list, and yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it looks good. That's pretty sick. Yeah.
Cool. Well, moving on to some meta decks, I think.
Something that are on people's mouths this time, or these times, I guess.
Yeah. So, anyone else want to take the lead?
Well,
yeah, where should we begin?
I actually, this is the so-called Reynard Hunter, which has a little bit of a difference between the normal Hunter deck, since they play double Hunter's Mark and Elven Archer and Stone Tusk to use those Hunter's Marks. And then they play Loot Hoarder to like pressure the field, get a little more hand control, like get more cards in hand, and then freezing trap to remove big stuff, I guess.
Yeah, and he doesn't actually play Animal Companion.
Oh, that's true.
I guess he doesn't like the random concept of it.
I think that's the thing.
So I have played against a couple of hunters that use like Stone Tusk Borer, and I must say I really think the card is absolutely garbage. And I think it is like I don't like that he isn't playing Animal Companion either. That card is just so strong.
I think
if you get it on turn 3 or turn 2 with coin.
Yeah, I think for my for the hunter deck that I tested a bit, I actually played. I think basically this list, but instead of the 2 Stone Tusks, I played 2 Animal Companions.
Yeah. I can't really say too much about it since I haven't tested it, but to be honest, I really dislike this build compared to the old build, where you have even like just a bunch of charge dudes. You don't really have that in this deck. It seems a little more control oriented, but I don't believe you can get that control when all of your dudes have 1 HP.
Well, the thing is with deck, you play for card advantage. Like, you have freezing, you have stuff to remove the enemy stuff from the field. Even after you played Unleash, so you have the ability to combo really well with Starving Buzzard and get a lot of card advantage. And that's probably how this deck goes for game.
Yeah.
I don't really. The thing is, I don't understand how this deck can go for game with hand alone. Like having more cards in your hand when there's no instant damage in your hand.
You poke with the hero ability, and you have like a few minions that might actually do some damage, like the explosive traps also do some damage. And generally the Eaglehorn bow, like when you play this deck, you mulligan, so you will get the Eaglehorn bow. And with all the draw in the deck, you will usually have it by turn 3. That is like MVP, like the bow and the Unleash the Hounds are MVP of this deck.
Well, you want the bow in the normal version as well. Like
yeah, but this gets the bow more consistently because it has so much draw power.
Yeah, I guess.
Like I think his logic behind this deck was that he was quoted for saying that this deck is basically Unleash the Hounds and 28 bad cards. So it's kind of like a cycle deck where you draw until you get Unleash the Hounds and then you win with that card.
I guess the Stone Tusk Boar also makes him able to play 2 Hunter's Marks or something. I don't know. It seems to have a little bit of synergy there.
Yeah, the Hunter's Marks are really good. Like it's really
because they have 2 Hunter's Mark. I don't know if it's usual to play 2 of them, but it does.
I think it's gotten quite usual.
Yeah.
Because it's just like it's better than the Owl because it's 0 mana and it actually gets rid of the minions, so yeah, it's not a threat anymore. Like if it's a big taunt with a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, like I've seen this build a lot on the ladder, really much actually, but I'm not sure I like it too much. Like it's really annoying when they get huge advantage from Starving Buzzard and Unleash, but like the tons of advantage that they get, they can't use it for too much, I feel. Also, I most place both Animal Companion and Misdirection as well, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, this might be the exact deck that Reynard played.
Yeah, and the thing about this deck is I think it's more like a response to people trying to counter Hunter. And this deck is kind of better against the decks that try to counter Hunter.
Yeah.
Because you don't really play the minions that are vulnerable to the remove, and you don't really play like... Yeah, I think... Yeah, it's just basically he thinks like the way he plays Hunter is that he basically says it's a late game deck, and the later the game goes, the better it is for the Hunter. Where the other deck, the previous Hunter deck was a early game deck where you had to win by turn 7.
Yeah.
And this is like the opposite of that.
It's interesting because when I play Hunter, I really don't need to win by turn 7. I just need to get him into Leroy combo range, and then I can just sit and draw on until he is close to killing me. Like that can sometimes take up to turn 12 or something.
Yeah.
For him to get there.
But it basically, I think his logic behind the deck is that he wants to go late game.
Yeah.
And the freezing trap is really good for extending the game.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And he just wants to draw the key cards as fast as possible and go late game. I think that's the... Well, I'm not sure if it's better or worse. I think both of the decks work better and worse against certain matchups.
Yeah, it's just different.
Yeah.
And I really I still don't like Stone Touch, but people might just play wrong against me. They always throw down on turn 1 and hit me for 1 damage.
Yeah, that's not really... I think the point with Stone Tusk is kind of to throw it down when you have the Starving Buzzard, and then basically just draw a card for 1 mana.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's
probably it.
Yeah.
Moving on to the newest deck of the bunch.
Yeah.
The very popular Ramp Druid.
The very popular Ramp Druid.
I guess I'll start this one off.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, sure.
So,
I think it's your build.
it's basically it's one I copied, so I guess it's my build.
Yeah, I guess. Fair enough.
But yeah, this is the list that Savitz used for his ladder climbs, and he got to I think top 10 in both EU and NA with this build. And basically the theory behind the deck is that the way that Hearthstone is balanced around and the way that Hearthstone is made as a game, you aren't equipped to deal with higher mana minions with lower mana. So if you play basically innovate all over again, but it's innovate every turn if you get it to work properly.
Yeah, I guess.
So yeah, it's kind of like...
If you have double wild growth, indeed.
Yeah, but even with 1 wild growth, if you go first and you have 1 wild growth, you are actually always 2 mana ahead of your opponent.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a note. Nourish, if you gain mana from that, you have it on the turn that you activate Nourish. So actually turn 1, you can go double innovate, Nourish.
Yeah, that's one of the most amazing. I've seen that one time and I just got completely wrecked.
And what, do you have
how much
5 mana then?
Yeah, they are I think they are 4 mana ahead actually.
Yeah,
no. 4 mana ahead. That's
sick.
What?
But they have 0 cards, or 3.5, right? 4 when they get the turn, and then 3 when you get it
I guess.
as going second. But they will
yeah.
have no cards, so they have to draw into them. But there are plenty of cards to draw into, I guess.
Yeah. The reason this deck works is just because how mana is made. You aren't supposed to deal with a 4/6 taunt on your turn 3. You can throw down a minion and it dies, and then it's still there, and then they can play another big guy, and then you're well, whatever.
Fuck this game.
Well, even if you have Hex, you can deal with that one guy, and then they can play an even bigger guy next turn. So it's kind of yeah.
That's a theory I've used in my warrior deck. If you can get them to use removal on Yetis, they won't have the removal for Ramesh or Visera or Rack.
It's all about baiting.
Yeah.
And it works quite well. I played it for 2 or 3 days, and it works surprisingly well against aggro decks as well.
I guess you have the Mark of the Wild. So.
Yeah, the Mark of the Wild is really good. And you also use it for removal against control decks with your Black Knight.
Yeah, true.
And Big Game Hunters sometimes. You buff their attack too.
Yeah, it's a little nice tweak.
The combos!
Yeah.
My honest impression is that this deck should completely die to the Rush Hunter.
Yeah, but it doesn't. That's the point. You play 1 big minion, and you give it Mark of the Wild. And then if they don't have Hunter's Mark, then they're basically screwed. Like, you can even not attack if they have a trap. So it's kind of like, once you get to the point where you can throw down Rags and Alexstrasza and stuff, then you are basically winning.
Yeah, of course. Without having played it at all, I just wouldn't believe that the deck would get to that point.
I guess that's why Healing Touch is there.
Yeah, Healing Touch also is really good in this deck.
Yeah.
Like, the one Healing Touch has saved me so many times, because there's we talked a lot before about the point where you get to, where you play like a board control, and there's one point where you think, okay, I can't win with board control anymore, so my only chance is to go for face. And if they get to that point and you throw down a Healing Touch, then you basically win the game.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
And that's kind of how this deck works, actually. So the Healing Touch is really good. And also you have, think, how much does Healing Touch give you? 8?
8. Yeah.
So you have 18 heal in this deck. Plus Alexstrasza, which can heal you for...
That's true.
So...
Potentially 14.
Yeah. It's a bit of a stretch, but yeah. And the Mark of the Wilds.
That happened to me a lot.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think this deck is really good. And I haven't actually... I won't say I've played it enough to actually know the bad matchups, but I haven't really found any matchups where I think, wow, this is really a bad matchup.
Have you played Miracle Rogue?
I've not played against Miracle Rogue, but I actually think that might be a bad matchup.
Yeah, okay.
Because, yeah...
Yeah, you won't be able to deal with them before they are actually able to draw the entire deck.
Yeah. And you can't really burst them. This is a really slow deck. Like, you don't have any burst combo. You don't have any like big dudes that do a lot of damage. Like usually you will play like the warrior deck, and you will go Alexstrasza them from 30 to 15 in turn 9, and then you will try to win from there.
Do you think it's fun to play a deck like this? Like entertainment value?
Well,
Seems like you're just sitting there. Drumming one.
You play a lot of big dudes, and if you like big dudes, I guess this deck is fun.
Do you like big dudes?
I love big dudes.
Nice.
They make me feel good.
It's great.
So, yeah. Have any of you played against this deck?
Nope.
I have not met this version. No.
I've actually not met this exact version, I think, either. But I've played against versions that played, I think, 2 Ancient of War. Like the 5/10 taunt dude.
Yeah, I met an Ancient of War as well today, I think.
And I'm not really sure how I feel about that card, because I think it gets countered too easily.
By the Black Knight?
Yeah. I think many people are actually playing Black Knight. I guess you don't see it?
Nope.
I know.
It's not entirely true. I see it thrown down sometimes against me on Warrior, but I don't play taunts, so it's not a problem. But like, consider the last 3 decks we checked, none of them had Black Knight, I think.
Yeah, true.
Like, I don't think it's played in most, like maybe in 20% or something. But like in all the 100 decks, none of the Warlocks deck play it.
Well, actually, I have seen some Warlock decks run it. The Black Knight.
Yeah, handlock, I guess.
No, the aggro.
Oh.
Just to get rid of big taunts.
I think only Priest who Thought Stealed and then threw it down right away from one of those cards have played against me. So.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
It's
not too played, I think.
It's actually really strong, but I just really see it. Or really never see it.
Well, would you play the Earth Elemental then in Shaman?
I don't think so.
Why?
Because Shaman I played for momentum, and 5 mana is just too.
So to use 5 mana on a 6/8 taunt, you would argue that doesn't give you momentum?
The thing is, the turn after, if you throw it down on turn 5, your next turn is completely screwed. And so you usually wait and play together with something like, I don't know, some kind of removal if you have that left.
One note, I think the big problem for both Earth Elemental and Ancient of War right now. It's maybe not the Black Knight, but like Warrior Control uses 1 mana to get rid of both of them. Like Shield Flame or Execute. And then you're just screwed because you're so far behind on momentum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you look at
Big Game Hunter eats.
true.
Same with Big Game Hunter.
Where it eats nothing else in Shaman. So
True.
They just wait until you throw it down.
I guess the thing that you want from your big drops is that they like it's the same logic that you used before with legendaries. The ones that are good are actually the ones that have an immediate effect.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Ragnaros always kills a dude or does 8 damage. Extraza is usually like a pyroblast thing. And Scenarios gives you the taunts, and Visera gives you always a card, so...
And then I must wonder, why do you not play... Or, like, let's theorize, why don't Savis play... the 7-5 guy that deals 2 to everyone. Barongeddon, yeah.
Actually, I don't know.
Wouldn't it seem good in this?
I think it might actually work in this
dies
deck.
too easily.
Well,
yeah,
but the Warrior Control decks played, and they have kind of the same idea.
The thing is, I think Warrior Control have a harder time getting rid of decks that like span the field, where
I guess
you can easily, you have an easier time with Druid of the Claw, Keeper of the Groove to like keep those things, the things at bay until.
But you have to remember that with Barongeddon, it also has a lot of synergy with the deck in general in the way that it works with the smaller minions, like Armor Smith, Frothing Berserker, and the Acolyte.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I think maybe that's what kind of tips the scales if you want to play it or not.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I think like honestly, I would want to try it in the deck. Like I might cut I would maybe cut like a Blood Mage for Barongeddon or something.
Yeah, sure.
Blood Mage
is pretty okay with swipe though.
Yeah, it's but I don't know. It hasn't been too overwhelming. I feel like
you need swipe, otherwise it's just 1/1, I guess.
It's kind of like buff swipe card only.
Yeah.
Like it can be used with the rest as well.
Yeah.
But...
And like this deck, if you have like a Ancient of Lore, and then it survives, like you play against Hunter, it survives, next turn you give it Mark of the Wild, and then you faceless it, and you have 2 7/7 taunts on the field, it's basically GG. Like, holy shit. Faceless with Mark of the Wild targets is so good.
Yeah,
that's true.
And Visera. Oh.
Cool. Anything more to this deck?
Not really.
I think we'd covered it. It's
Cool. Move on. Move on, Infidel.
Moving on.
Infidel.
What is actually the next topic?
I believe it's ladder season 1.
Oh yeah, we switched to the next big topic. So, let's talk about season 1. So we're in season 1 actually, the first official season that is not beta. So,
well, did you say that it's not better or not beta?
Not beta.
Well, I would agree to both statements. So.
Well, how would you say that it's not better?
I think we talked about it last episode 6. I think how they changed the way that when you are kicked down, you get the extra stars, and people have seen the effect of that. Like I started in rank 17 this season, and I was only 4. I wasn't even like in the top or anything last season.
Where did you guys start?
Like
the
nothing
legendary?
changed.
16.
What? Yeah, I started.
You started 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I
Yeah.
I don't know. I started at rank 19 and I got rank 9 or something. So it's, I don't know. It helps a bit, I guess.
I think it's just to distribute the people so not everyone starts at 25.
I started at 16 and my first match was against a 22. who played some random shit and I won. So I guess like when you start out, just play a lot, get queued up against all these other people who are noobs, and then like get 3 stars. That's what I do. Without
Rolling the
disrespecting.
Abuse the system every day.
Without disrespecting anyone. But yeah, what I meant with not better is basically like it's the same as always, except for that system, and it's still 1 month, and I still think it's too short, but I think I covered that. I don't know.
But now there's card backs.
Wow, card backs! Wow.
And I actually like this implementation. Like, it's something to fight for, right? Earlier it was like, okay, you get legend and then it resets, and you're like, okay, I guess. Like getting to rank 16 from being legend is not really an accomplishment. Because even if you was started in 25, you'll still get there eventually. But like if you get legend and get a card back that you can't get without having been legendary, that's like then you actually win something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have something to show off.
Yeah, show off. Like a bit like achievements from World of Warcraft or something.
Yeah, and hopefully they will get to implement soon that you can somehow check what you were in the past seasons.
Yeah.
Like you get the medals at the end of the season where it says, "Congratulations, you earned legendary medal for getting to legendary," but it doesn't actually show anywhere.
I actually think that system was just implemented, so if you forgot, like you didn't check the day before the reset, and then you come in and you're like, oh, what did I like? How high did I actually get? I forgot, and then it tells you like one last time. Oh, I got.
Yeah, but I hope they save it or something. Like I hope that at some point it's gonna be displayed in your profile or something.
Yeah, I guess they might save it, but I'm like I wouldn't. On that basis that they show you the medal, I wouldn't say that it's guaranteed that they will have saved it.
No, but I think they should.
Yeah,
Because,
that's
like,
my point.
It's
Also, so you can track your own
normal.
progress, which it makes good sense.
Yeah.
Like when you achieve something, you want to be able to show it off, right?
Yeah.
Like I can say I've been legend in 2 seasons, but what does it matter that I can say it if I can't prove it?
Well, now
exactly.
you can. Because if you get to legendary in this season, then when the next season starts, you will have this card back, and you can stream and you can activate this card back and be like, hey guys, look at me. I have been to legendary at some point in my life.
I have achieved this great thing in my life.
Yeah, just for the people,
face.
just for the people who don't like know how these card backs works. Basically, this is the first official season. So for each season, they have stated that there will be a new card back actually for participation, which means you have to get to rank 20 in that season, and then at the end of the season, if you got to rank 20 or higher, you get the participation one, the red one right now. But for next season, if you get to rank 20 or higher again, you will get a new card back, and it will be like that for each season. But the legendary one will just be like a global quest, you can say, where it's the same card back, this exact one, for each season. So they like you don't have to rush to get it right now this season. But like when you get legendary, you won't get it immediately. You have to be legendary, and then the season ends, and you will be rewarded with this card back.
So there's actually not new card backs for every legend. It's just one.
That's a bit sad, actually.
The legend one, yeah. I think it should be the other way around, but I don't know.
I think the system is fine as it is, actually, because
It makes it easier for the worst players, I guess, to get some profit.
Yeah, and
but maybe that's also fair enough.
I already like stated how I really dislike the system only having 1 month, and I don't think it's necessarily worth to try to get legendary each season because it's too much work. So
right.
For me personally, I like the system, and I think for the vast majority of the players, I think this is the most fair way to do it. Like they have to get to rank 20, so they have to play, they have to win some games. I guess it's like you have to participate, but you don't have to be good because you cannot get below 20 if you just play enough. You get these things, and then if you are good enough to get legend, you get the special one, and you have something to strive for as a new or like not a pro, so to say.
Yeah.
But like then I just think they need. That's maybe just my opinion, that they need to implement the ability to see how many seasons you have been in Legend.
Yeah, I would agree. If you need to show off, like your skill or something.
Yeah, because like, I don't know, at some point if you want to look for like a really, really good team, it would be very useful if you could see, like, this guy has been in Legendary in every season, so he's probably good, right?
Yeah.
Or just has no life.
That too.
At least spends a lot of time on the game, I guess.
And both cases would mean that he's probably the right for your team.
Yeah.
So I can second that logic.
Oh, and bonus information: the card backs will be animated. Blizzard have stated that. I think.
Nice.
Like in my head, it seems really weird when I imagine the cards in your opponent's hand and like on your deck, like swirling around and being animated. I don't know, but I guess they
it's just
stated it looks
glitter or
awesome, so
something.
I will believe that it looks awesome.
Cool.
Just believe.
So, is there anything more about the first season? Did we not cover something?
Just,
Think.
Just play.
Basically the same. I think what we're mostly looking forward to is actually new content.
Like
Yeah.
new cards.
The new season is kind of like fake new content, because they market it like, whoa, something new happened, but it's like the same. They sent it out as card backs, which is kind of nice, but it's still like,
You have to wait a month, no matter what, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then still cardbacks is not
It's a
really
card
something
back.
new. It's like
it's
new
not
visual.
nothing new in the game.
It's new
like,
visual.
It's new visual. So.
I don't mind that they implemented this. In most card games, you have, like, you can kind of personalize your deck where you choose the color or whatever for the sleeves that you put in the deck. But I really, because I don't interact in the same way as I do with a physical card game. With like in Hearthstone, I don't draw the cards. I don't shuffle them around in my hand. I don't search my deck like. I think it might be very trivial, but I guess it's show off or something.
Yeah,
I don't
think,
mind it, but
I think I was just hoping for something like new cards or something.
yeah, adventure mode, go,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, I think we should get some new cards soon. Like,
Hearthstone
don't know.
PvE.
I think they stated that the reason they have like waited so long to produce new cards and new content is because the game just went into actual. Now the game is ready.
Yeah, but the thing
full
about
of
it is,
but yeah, you're probably gonna say the same as me. That adventure mode, it's not like you. It's another way to get cards. You don't have to put money into it. You don't have to grind it in the same way that the rest of the cards. So I think like adventure mode would be perfect for a new player as well to have right off the bat. Also, just like they might give you gold or something for playing in it and winning in it, and then you have like new players. I think would be more thrilled to have some exciting PvE content compared to just PvP.
yeah. But yeah, but I kind of feel like yes, they went into like the first official season, but like it still feels like the beta. Like nothing new happened. Like it's like even people even said it, like even at the like when the game was actually launched, like that day where it was launched, like basically nothing happened. It was just like,
oh, now it's launched.
somewhere it was on the Blizzard forums there was a post, oh, Hearthstone is now out of beta, everyone can play it, but everyone was already playing it because it was open beta. So like everyone who could play it were already playing it, there was no new marketing. Like there was no
nothing.
launch party. There was nothing. There was just like a post. I was like, well, I guess the game is live now,
Just
official.
like, oh, by the way, now it's live. But
Yeah,
bugs, no, it's live, guys. Believe us.
It's live. and yeah, I know there was kind of like a big patch, but like there were still bugs in the game. Like
The patch did close to nothing.
yeah, like there was one patch where they said, well, we fixed a lot of bugs, but
Yeah, some new ones appeared. Which
Some new
is-
ones.
Now
Once
you
appeared.
can reconnect to your game, but not
Yes.
really.
but not really.
It was just
yeah,
a prank.
I don't know. That feature doesn't really work, does it? I don't know.
No,
Nope,
Not at all.
absolutely not. But yeah,
I have never successfully reconnected to a game ever.
yeah, weird too then.
Like it's always been like you try to connect and then you disconnect again, or you get in and then something extremely fucked up happens and both players disconnect. It's just, well, I guess I tried to reconnect something, but actually one of the new things that actually happened was that if both players, like if you get into a game, like you reconnect and the game actually crashes or like both players disconnect, then it doesn't actually give you a loss anymore. It gives you like a draw.
Both players disconnect.
Yeah, like if the game crashes.
I guess if they use the same internet or something.
No.
Oh,
If
if the
the
server
game
crashes.
crashes.
Oh, I
Yeah, if the server or the particular like the game crashes, like the
Yeah.
one that both players are playing, not the Hearthstone the game. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Like both players are connected to one server game thing,
Yeah.
and if that crashes, then you get a draw instead of a loss. So
It was
that's kind of
also
cool.
so lame. Like, oh, we have. When we look in our database, we have a 60% loss ratio. Like what?
Yeah,
More than half the players are losing.
that's good. That's always good. So yeah. What was my point? Oh yeah, and that's like the feeling where now the game is out of beta. It's launched and like nothing happened, and that's kind of how I feel about season 1. Like now it's the first official season, but
It's the same
That's-
season.
There's
It just says
always
it
the same,
says
like-
official.
there's no new cards, no new like no spectator, no adventure mode. Like it's nothing. It's just like okay, well it's the same. And then maybe next season we will get card backs if those work. And there's not like $1 billion bucks.
Yeah, there's no guarantee for that actually.
They better.
No.
Can't be that hard.
Well, I don't know.
Don't say that. Because
It
You
can't be
don't,
that.
you don't even know, man.
I said it.
It can't be that hard to actually have 5 cards in your hand, but it can.
What are you
Some-
saying? Reconnect. Blizzard did it in all their games. It can't be that hard.
Well, Blizzard shows that it can be that hard.
Yeah, it probably is really hard.
Yeah. Well, we don't know, so we can only assume.
Well, we are programmers, so yeah. It is a little tough,
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
shouldn't be that tough.
yeah. Especially not if you have experienced people on the On the team.
Multi-billionaire company.
multi-billion
It's
company.
It's just so funny. Like,
Yeah.
how this
I
game
still-
just
I just-
doesn't remind me of any other Blizzard games. It's just so full of bugs.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like Blizzard kind of like don't give a shit about Hearthstone, to say it right. Like they have like 5 people they still have like 5 people working on the game, even though it's like
It's a
huge
pretty big game, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like it's one of their
insanely
biggest
big.
games. Like
Yeah,
I
it's so big.
think it's like
Well, they have
almost
four-
bigger.
They have 4 games, so
No, but I think it's actually bigger than Diablo. Or something.
I
don't
think so.
not
It
anymore.
might have
maybe.
a better play.
Maybe
bigger
before
player base.
the
Yeah,
Reaver
before the
Souls
expansion.
launch.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But like I don't know. And on streaming platforms like on Twitch, like it's
bigger
it's
than on
constantly
Twitch.
like
Yeah.
yeah, it's top 3 games streamed.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
and usually it's top 2. Like nobody gets to League of Legends, but like usually it gets over Dota as well if there's not like any big tournaments in Dota or something.
Yeah.
And like Trump, when he streams, he gets like 20K plus viewers.
Yeah.
Like That was when it was in beta. Like, I think Hearthstone deserves, like, I think
A
Hearthstone
bigger
deserved
crew.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bigger
More than
crew.
just I don't know, the garage or something behind the comedy building.
It's funny actually. Now I don't want to drag this out too much, but I have heard a lot of podcasts and stuff from Magic designers, and they have like 3 different entire teams just for sets. Like,
Yeah.
and that's not even like Hearthstone has a whole suite of programming stuff to be done, where Magic have 3 entire teams only for coming up with ideas and balancing, like, and writing it down and sending out the ideas to whoever prints it. Like, how can you have a program, a game that's so big with only 5 developers? I just don't understand it. But yeah,
Good programmers, I guess.
very.
Bad decision making.
I think.
What is
Cash.
greedy? Very greedy. Employees.
No, I think
employees. The employees are not greedy.
And as long as people play it and Blizzard earn money, I
Employers.
guess they're actually pretty happy about
I
it.
guess.
employers.
Employers.
Yes.
I think there's a word for it, but I can't
All the
remember
English.
with
All
my
the English.
Gebrauch.
High skill.
Cool. Well, let's move on to the last section, I think,
Yeah.
of this podcast, where we will talk about 2-drops, specifically neutral 2-drops.
Specific.
So, Michael, just give us a heads up when you are ready to go, and I think I'm gonna just boot up my Hearthstone.
Yeah, I'll just open it up right here as well.
That's good, Henry. Shows dedication.
Good stuff, yo.
Good stuff, yo. Cool. So, how many cards are we gonna go through? I think we said
Half.
half.
Half,
So
and that's approximately to knife juggler, I think.
yeah.
We can call it knife juggler, I guess. And then
Yeah.
that's a
2
good
and
one.
with knife juggler. So I got that loaded up here. There's actually I looked through it earlier, and there's actually a lot of 2-drops I don't own, which is funny.
go to the
Yeah, I have it included.
Cool.
Everything. So
Going to the very first one, which is kind of an interesting one, actually, acidic swarm boost.
indeed,
So, anyone wanna take a jab at it?
I would like to note that we covered really thoroughly last week. But I guess the big point here is its effect. Like,
Yeah,
the
just
stats
quickly, quickly go. Like, I know we.
the stats are common. The effect is really good because there are many decks in the meta that use weapon, and if you get the effect off on a weapon, you have a really huge advantage.
yeah.
Basically,
Yep. Think.
that's about it.
Yeah,
its
basically.
its stats are good, and it's one of the best, I think, 2-drops if you don't own a lot of cards, because it has a useful effect and so on.
But it's kind of like it's a meta based effect.
Yeah,
So it's
definitely.
it's good against some decks, and it's not. I think the effect is useless.
Yeah. That's true.
But the point about the card is that even if the effect is useless, it's still a good card.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
still
Okay,
has
card.
like okay stats.
It's an average card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, going over to the Amani Berserker, which is actually also one of the good ones.
Really good ones.
Yeah, I think we mentioned also either last week or 2 weeks ago how usually you want more health than attack on your minion. And Amani Berserker is it has the generic 5 stats for 2 mana and a very great effect where you can often against a lot of 1-drops with 2 attack that trades well with for example a City Goose.
Yep.
Where an Amani can eat that and then afterwards be a 5-1. And if your opponent isn't mage, they're either gonna take a lot of damage to get rid of it, or you might even like kill something else.
Yep.
So Mani Berserker is actually a really strong card.
And
Yeah.
we covered it also a bit when we talked about the secret mage deck 2 weeks ago, I think, where it's really, really good at killing like stuff like with 5 health.
Ancient Watches?
Yeah, Ancient Watches, so many cards that are played a lot have 5 health.
Yeah.
From
Ancient
Yeti
Watches,
to
Yetis,
Watcher.
Yeah.
And so on. Like 5 health is really big, so their money can actually kill those if they don't deal with it instantly. So
Yeah.
And I think the really common combo with this is play it in Mage and use your hero ability
hero
on it.
power.
Then you can buff it up to 5 by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And compared to many of the other enraged creatures, it just has enough stats. So that is why it's like one of the better, except some of the warrior ones.
Imagine if Raging Worgen was like a 3/4.
Yeah, that would be sick.
That'd be
so insane.
strong. Yeah, the next
That's
one.
that's like the equivalent of the Mani Berserker. But yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on to the Watcher,
Ancient Watcher.
the guy who sits and looks at you,
Yeah, does nothing else. Or
Really
does he?
good at looking.
or does he?
Like in the beginning of the game, I think this card was very overlooked. Like most players saw it and was like, it cannot attack, so
It's
it's
bad.
useless. It's just bad.
Yeah.
But with the uprising of like, you want to silence it yourself, and sometimes you give it taunt, because it's like it protects your other minions, it protects your health, and if you silence it, it's a Yeti that you get out on turn 2 and might even like start attack with it on turn 3 if you silence it. So
Or you can coin it turn 1 and silence turn 2.
yeah,
And then you have turn 2.
it's just so strong. It has great stats, and if you buff it with like Defender of Argus, it's like a 5/6 with taunt.
It's a pain to get rid of.
Yeah, and
exactly.
not to mention its use in Warlock Giants with the Shadow Flame. It's really insane.
That too. Yeah.
So generally, like, the stats are so good that you actually want to play around the effect to get it to work.
Yeah.
And because of the way that the Hearthstone works, the opponent will usually use much more than the 2 mana that you spend on playing it to get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which can set you so far behind.
It's both a momentum card, but also like a comeback card.
Yep.
If you have like 2 of these, and then all of a sudden, whoa, they both have taunts. Now I have a lot of time to set up my field and get back into the game from a rush versus a rush deck or something.
Yep.
And the obvious drawback is that it's a setup card. Like you need to combo
another,
it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you need
It's something
combo.
else.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just does nothing.
If you just drop it and you have nothing, no follow-up, it just lies there. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
it.
you lost 2 mana basically.
Yeah.
So it's a 2 mana investment that can potentially take a
worth
lot
more
more
than
mana
2
from
mana.
your opponents. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and also it's mostly like, I think it's most popular in Druid because the Druid have the Keeper of the Grove, which is really amazing for silencing it.
Yeah.
Like turn 4, you can basically get a Yeti plus a 2/4 if you already had it on the board.
Yeah.
So that's really good, and people usually got to the conclusion that you want to have 5 enablers for the Watcher in your deck, like 5 cards that can trigger it.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's-
1 Defender of Argus, 2 Sunfury Protectors, and 2
Groves.
Groves. Yeah.
Yeah. The exception obviously being Warlock Giants, because you can also Shadow Flame it, which is kind of an enabler, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, and then you
They
play
also
Owls.
play the entire taunt engine together with the giant.
Yeah,
And
true.
They can
They
play
actually
Owls
have.
as well.
As well as Owls, usually.
Yeah.
Or made don't know usually,
So-
but you can definitely.
You basically play it in decks that have a lot of silences and taunts already. Like you don't want to, or sometimes you want, but usually you want to incorporate it with a grander strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
Plus,
Yeah.
I think that's it for the watching guy.
Yeah, I think so.
So let's look at the Bloodfin Raptor.
Bloodfin Raptor.
Yeah.
Basically,
It's a raptor.
it has the 5 stats, but as people might have noticed, all other 2-drops with these stats have some kind of extra ability. And the
But so does he.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the reason this
yes.
guy does not have that extra ability is because he is a beast.
Yeah.
So
Wild.
there is synergy with other cards.
But can you please explain why it is not good?
Because the synergy effect is not as good as having a effect in itself.
Yeah.
Like,
It's too hard to build around, basically. There is actually surprisingly few cards that have remarkable synergy with this card. Like, you might say Starving Buzzard. That's like, you get 1 card in turn 4 for having a less than optimal, like, field.
Yeah, because it only has 2 HP as well. so-
Yeah, like, it's
Cool.
a situational worse Yeti at 4 mana, like, combined with Starving Buzzard. I guess there's the Houndmaster, which makes it a 5/4,
5/4.
but that's also like you have to play it and it has to survive. Then in turn 4, you can buff it, and it's a 5/4. It's not even like even Yeti is still better.
Yeah.
So basically, Bloodfin Raptor is just
bad.
it's not good enough that he's a beast compared to not being like a knife juggler or something else.
Yeah.
Also, yeah,
Also,
these can only combo with Hunter. So
Yeah, basically.
anything else on Hunter is just bad than most other cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think it's one of the better arena cards, isn't it? I don't know.
It's okay in arena because
Yeah.
if you are behind in like early drops, you can sometimes get like it's not the worst draw, it's not the wisp. So
No. You can
the-
combo it with the Bestial Wrath, so that's something.
Oh well,
Yeah.
I think that was it for Bloodfin Raptor.
Moving on to the legendary of the bunch, actually.
Blood Mage Thalnos. He is great.
He's expensive, so of course it's good.
Well, of course.
He replaces himself, and he has 1 spell damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason this card is so good is basically because spell power is great, and it's like he's cheap, so you can play it in the same turn you want to play the spell power usually. And compared to Cobalt, he is self-replaced, like Henry just said. So even if you don't have something to combo it with, you can just play it out, and then, well, nothing too much has gone wrong. Like,
Yeah, if you
draw
play
your card.
it turn 2, you draw a card. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Like I will usually do that if I'm against a matchup where he won't be that useful. Like the spell power is kind of meh.
Yeah. And if you play him together with spell power, you get that extra boost. Plus, he's still free. You still get a card from him afterwards.
Yeah.
Which is why he's so great. Because in that situation, you just you got a free card basically. And
Especially
you got
in-
free spell power.
Especially in Druid, he's really good. Druid has so
Yeah.
many cards that Swipe, for example,
And in
is one of
Shaman.
the more insane ones. Shaman as well. Yeah.
But in general, with spell power, you want it with some kind of AoE.
AoE.
usually.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
if it's just 1 extra damage on 1 targeted spells, usually your hero power will do the same, unless you're not one of the hero powers that can do the same.
Also spells that are meant to kill minions usually have the sufficient reach to kill the minion. Like
Yeah, exactly.
like for example,
Like Wrath has 3 damage.
Wrath
Yeah.
has 3 damage, which can kill any 2-drop or
Yeah.
most.
Yeah, but where Blood Mage comes in here is that you can get the draw card effect of Wrath more often than not.
Yeah,
If it does 2 damage, for example.
2 damage kills something, draw a card.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
But
Yeah, that's really good.
in general, the reason is usually for AoE. Like you play it for the swipe, but sometimes it will work with other cards.
The Wrath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the Starfire.
Oh, this.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The 6 damage Starfires. To Dream.
Kill.
Or Moonfires.
Oh,
So, moving on.
To
To
Bloodsail
Bloodsail.
Raider,
Bloodsail Raider.
which she is a pirate.
Like
And
compared
my
to
final
Bloodfin
one.
Raptor, she has nearly the same stats, 2-3 instead of 3-2, which we concluded were better,
Usually better, yeah.
usually better. And she has an effect that she
Which
can
is
set up
actually
on herself.
quite a good effect, actually.
Yeah, it's a really good. Like, coin a weapon on a warrior turn 2, and you can drop a 5-3
On turn 2.
on turn 1.
Yeah.
Coin the 3-2 weapon turn 1, and drop this turn 2, and you have a 5-3 on turn 2. That's
and
like
you have a
really
weapon
sick.
to
And
kill
a
the
weapon,
minions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would also say that you can easily play in Rogue as well. It's almost always a free for 2 mana
Yeah.
or more.
Yeah, and with the poison even more, yeah.
Yeah, it can be more.
Like if you need a generic 2-drop in Rogue, I would definitely recommend this card. It's
pretty good, yeah.
it's much better than like Knife Juggler or something in
Yeah.
Rogue. I feel like.
And I tested it in like a more aggressive hunter, not quite the go for face version, but a little more aggressive. No, not hunter, warrior.
Yeah.
Like usually this card would eat up some kind of hard removal, and then your Frothing Berserker would just be safe. And it's like a 2 mana drop that forces your opponent to use their removal on it. It's really strong.
Yep.
So like it's the best pirate in my opinion.
By far, but yeah.
Maybe except
Al-
the
al-
legendary
almost,
has some.
The legendary is good,
Yeah,
The
but it's
legendary.
a little different. Yeah, the Captain Green skin.
Oh yeah.
he's fine
True.
as well.
But if you look at the rest of the pirates, except those two, I don't know what to say.
Well, if you play all the pirates, the one that buffs them all for 1/1 is actually quite good as well. But
I don't know. Maybe we should talk about pirates someday.
sometime.
Yeah, sometimes.
I think the pirate will actually be a legit deck type once there's more pirates.
Yeah.
Just like kind of like
It's
the
not a
Murlocs.
legit deck type now, basically.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Well, I could mention how I hate how beasts and pirates are like classes.
And it's the only two of them.
I would much rather
Murloc.
like if you go with beast, then I would like to have like Tauren, orcs, like races. If you go with pirate, I would like to have like classes.
Yeah, I guess.
Across the board. I think it's just kind of a weird mix to have pirate and beast. Like these two, I don't fit them in the same category
Yeah, you
in
mean
that
it
way.
should be beast and humanoid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that way. But whatever floats their boat, I'm not gonna
Yes.
complain about that at this very moment. So.
Cool. Well, let's move on to the
The bluegill.
yeah.
Its skills are blue. It can charge. It has 1 life and 2 attack.
His skills
So-
are blue.
That's true.
I'm blue.
Skills are blue, that's
Da-ba-dee-da-ba-da.
Yeah.
And it's a Murloc. You play it in Murloc decks.
And hunter sometimes.
And sometimes Hunter.
Well, I would argue that I often actually find myself drafting this card in Arena, simply
It's good.
because it's like it's 2 damage removal that you can like throw at anything to give it 2 damage, which usually is quite okay. Like in Arena.
Yeah, in arenas, if you get this card and 2 other cards that are like not good or not even average, this card is just fine because you can throw it into a ooze, you can throw it into a Bloodfin Raptor, you can throw it into a
I would say
like whatever 2-drop, and it's
I would
fine.
I would definitely say this card is above average, like
Yeah,
just
this
a little
is-
bit. Like I would much rather have Bluegill than I would have Bloodfin Raptor, for example.
Maybe.
That's just my
I think I
opinion.
agree. Because like they trade with each other, and Bluegill Warrior just seems to have more versatility.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's like especially against like non-hero power classes that can like
Yeah.
non-ping.
Of
Yeah.
course, it sucks.
And in constructed, it's just very strong. Especially in Murlocs, like
Yeah.
Yeah, in the decks for it, it's really strong.
because
yeah.
it can get boosted to a 4/2 with charge.
Yeah, but just
True, man.
generically, like I wouldn't just generically put it in any deck.
No. Put it in something that needs to deal damage or Murloc.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and it does the 2 damage for 2 mana, which is average.
It's okay.
So, yeah. Moving on to the Captain's Parrot.
Captain's Parrot.
That I actually don't have.
I think we might have mentioned this at some point, and it's the worst card. It's so bad.
It's really bad. It's not even a pirate.
Incredibly bad.
Yeah.
But it's a beast.
It's a beast.
Was that enough
But it's a
flame?
beast.
So you can make some kind of pirate hunter, I guess.
The thing about Captain's Parrot is it's basically. I really think I said this exact thing
did.
at some other point in some other podcast, but it's basically the 1/1 draw card.
Novice Engineer.
Yeah.
But it can only get pirates, and the pirates are not too strong, and it's still random. I think this card would be pretty cool if it had like
Search function, right?
yeah, like they could even make it like semi-search. So like they already had that engine in the game. The 1 mana card from Hunter.
Look at 3 cards.
Oh yes.
Yeah, exactly. You could play this, and then it would present you 3 different pirates from your deck, and then you could choose one, and the other cards would go back into the deck.
That would actually be really cool.
Because as it is now, it's...
Yeah,
really
as
good.
it is now, you don't even want to play it in like a dedicated pirate deck, because it's not good enough even to be there. And in all of the decks, like, it has no place.
Yeah.
And even if you look at the stats, it's horrible.
Stats are like the stats.
What if you buffed the stats? What if you gave it like 2/2?
If it was a 2/2
Would it be
that
too
added a
much?
pirate, that would be pretty good, actually. Like, you could then play it even only with 1 pirate or something.
And then it should be both beast and pirate.
It should be a pirate beast.
Yeah.
It's a beastly
Pirate
pirate. Beastly pirate.
Yeah.
Beast,
that-
parrot.
But I would be very happy to see some kind of search mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put on a
Yeah.
few cards, not overuse it, but on a few of those underrated archetypes and stuff. Give them some extra in that way.
Yeah, and if any of you watching, you don't know how to get this card, you can actually get it by having 1 of each pirate. Then you get a set of these.
Yeah, then you get 2 of these, exactly.
Yeah.
But one of the pirates are, like, is legendary, so...
Yeah.
I guess.
keep
Yeah,
that
and you
in
need him as well.
Cool.
Ye-
Moving on to the Crazed Alchemist, which is kind of a controversial card.
mind. It's kind of cool.
It's yeah.
It has, I think, it has a completely unique effect, and it's an effect with endless potential. Say it so. Like you can use it in Priest to swap some minion, like swap the attack around on minions, so you can kill them with your power. What's it
Shadow
called?
Words.
Shadow Words. And you can use it like generically in many decks for like additional burst.
Yeah.
Like give a high defense minion, high attack, and then go for a face. I think it was specifically used for that in
Zero.
yeah, but it was specifically used for that in the what's he called, the G Walls guy,
Gay balls.
Gay Balls.
What?
I think he's called G Walls, but people call him Gay Balls, and he's random us. It's pretty fun. They stream.
When he uses this anyway, it doesn't matter what he's called.
Yeah,
He used
no.
this card in his handlock deck, and the way he would use it is that he would get like a 4/9 Twilight Drake, then he would play the Alchemist, and then hit the opponent for 9 damage to the face to finish them off, or to deal a lot of damage. So
I saw a clip with a fun combo actually. I think it was a guy playing Shaman. He had this fire elemental between 2 flame tongue totems, so it had 10 damage, right? Then he swapped it, so it has 10 HP.
Yeah, that's
and,
really cool.
Yeah, and then it gets the attack again. Then he swapped it back again, so it had like 15 attack or something. Because he had 2
That's
alchemists.
the thing. That's one of the really cool combos. If you have a minion that's buffed by a not permanent effect, like Flame Tongue, or if it's enraged, you can swap it, and it will get the effect as a permanent effect, and will get rebuffed by the Flame Tongue.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it will be able to get enraged again on a Mighty Berserker, for instance.
There's a lot of cool synergy here.
And obviously also it kills guys that have 0 attack.
Goodbye, Nat Pagel.
So sided in against Sue, I guess.
Yeah, it's good against Shield Bearer.
Or Shaman. Yeah.
Like it's a great side deck card when that option comes.
Yeah.
If that option comes.
But in short, it's just like Ancient Watcher. Like you usually need something else to make it good. So it's a little situational, I would say.
But it has decent stats as well. Like,
yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
It can be worse.
It's not good. It's okay. No.
So going to the Dogge.
Direwolf
The Direwolf Alpha.
He looks so angry.
Yeah.
Like
So
it's pretty pissed.
he reminds
generally,
me of the meme, like I'm gonna kill your babies meme or something. I don't know what.
Insanity
Wolf, yeah.
I think that's called Insanity Wolf.
The classic meme.
Not the I'm gonna kill your baby's meme.
I don't know, man. I'm not really into those memes. I don't think they are too funny. So, but whatever. Direwolf Alpha. He's pretty cool.
So basically, he has the potential to give 1 stat extra for his cost.
Yeah. 14.
Making it potentially a 4/2. But it also has the added value of giving those stats to different minions, which I actually feel like is increasing the value. Like
It's
I like
Sun
it.
Fury.
Yeah, I like if Sun Fury gave the buff to himself. Oh, of course it would be insane.
If he was 2/3 taunt baseline, nothing else.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of Sun Fury. The other one, the 3/2 that buffs.
The Sun Cleric.
Yeah, Sun Cleric, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
But-
right now, it's still okay, even though it's only breaking even and situational. So the fact that it buffs something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
It's
my point exactly. It breaks even in stats if you buffs, like if you use the buff, but the fact that you can give the buff to another minion, which can potentially like do a trade that's good, or like make that minion really really good somehow, like make the Shield Bearer a 1/5, which is infinitely better than 0/4.
I think we see this mostly on Shield Bearers in the Zoo deck, right?
Yeah,
I don't know any other decks where it's. I haven't seen it in any other decks. I think maybe a Hunter here and there.
Well, you
the
actually
lower
sometimes you sometimes see it in Arena as well.
In Arena, of course, yeah.
Yeah, in Arena it's fine.
Well, the thing
And-
is, the card needs a deck that can set it up, because if you don't have the ability to have board control, it's just bad. Like
Yeah,
then it's just a 2/2.
Yeah.
You need to be able to have minions on the field to make it worth having it in the deck.
It's basically like the Flame Tongue Totem, where where it's really good when you are ahead and okay when you're even, but it's terrible when you're behind.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not as extreme as Flame Tongue.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, exactly. So
It actually has okay stats.
yeah,
Yeah,
Direwolf is just it's a fine card. You want to play it in a deck with a lot of momentum, so you can get like even more momentum, because this card, any card that pushes stats onto other cards, like
usually
they
good.
change the momentum for what you should have that turn, because you shouldn't have so many stats ready to attack that turn.
Yeah.
But you get that in cost of your next turn or whatever. So it pushes like the tempo of any deck.
Cool. Moving on to the Doomsayer.
Doomsayer. I once had 6 of these.
That was a lot of dust.
Then I got. That was a lot of dust. Yes, exactly. It was 400 dust.
400 dust.
Meaning I had 4 epics that I could transform into one other epic.
And
I like this
basically,
system.
I really need 2 of this card, and I've never had it ever. So I kind of get mad when Michael draws 6 of them, but yeah.
I don't have it like a single elemental, so you shouldn't complain too much.
True.
Don't get
So-
into the
We won't.
disenchanting
We
cost.
won't.
Let's
So-
talk about the card instead of the lack of. So I think actually this is one of the most underestimated cards in the game,
It's really strong.
because I feel like it's insanely strong like the effect is so insane if the opponents can't deal with it. Like the opponent basically loses their entire next turn. Like that's what people don't realize. Because you can't play new minions, you can't play new stuff to the field if this guy's out and you can't kill him.
And guys, without even the effect, just look at those stats, man.
Yeah,
it's like 7 for 2.
And that's the thing about Hearthstone is how we talked about how it's balanced and such is that like you aren't supposed to deal 7 damage to it on turn 2 or 3 or 4. So you can basically use it as a board clear. Like if you have a really slow deck and you play it on turn 3, the opponent usually can't kill it, so they will lose their entire next turn, and then you will have your turn 4 to actually take control. Like you can play your first minion, and then they have to react to you instead of the other way around.
Yeah, and the type of deck that might be able to kill it, they're often aggro decks, and if they kill it, it's not too bad because then it soaks up 7 damage, which they would normally want in your face instead.
It's heal 7 for 2 mana, so...
I'm not so sure actually. Like, I like this card mostly in control versus control matchup. Like, the 2 big rushy decks we have right now is Hunter Rush, right? And
Zoo.
Control, Zoo. And the Zoo wants board control. And if they kill Doomsayer, they still have board control. And Hunter Rush is kinda carefaced. If you kill their minions, they will still charge the damage in.
Yeah, but if you play it against Zoo, and then they can't kill it, then I think they basically just lose the game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so,
that's true. Definitely. Like
so
if they
imagine
have a Flame Imp, Shield Bearer, and maybe I don't know.
Imagine the following scenario.
Even a Wolf, just that turn, they can it's 5 damage they can push, so they cannot play the Wolf, and it's just like, oh, I lose 2 minions, and he gets a clear board to play out stuff.
Yeah. Like imagine if you go first against Zoo, which like Zoo usually really wants to go second because of the coin, and they want to play 2 minions turn 1.
I guess.
So if you go first and then you give them their turn, and then they play 2 minions on turn 1 with the coin, and then on your turn 2 you play the Doomsayer, like 99% of the time they won't be able to kill it, unless they blow like an early. Yeah, but if they blow an early Soulfire...
Crazed Alchemist out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's true, they don't want to use Soulfire on it.
They don't want to use Soulfire that early, and on this card. So it's kind of like, either they have a Soulfire, they can kill it, or if they don't, they just lose the game. Because they can't...
Even if they use Soulfire, they just lost 2 cards to it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Soulfire and the other card that they scrubbed.
Yeah, it's 2 for 1. So it's really amazing, I think, against Zoo.
Yeah.
However,
the problem...
This is all very positive, right? But what if you draw this card late game?
Yeah. The problem is if you're so far behind that you cannot play this without, like...
Them
then it does nothing for you.
Killing it for free. Or you might, like, in most decks you want to yourself play the tempo game, so sometimes you're like a little behind, but you don't want to use one of your own cards to get rid of 2 of your own minions and 3 of your opponents. Like,
well, actually, Reynard played this card, and he was really happy when he had Ysera in the hand, and on turn 8, like even if he had like if the board was completely clear on turn 8, he would just play this card. And the opponent would usually not commit anything to the field, because like deals 7 damage from nothing. That's basically impossible. So he would have a clear board on turn 9, no matter what, to play Ysera, and then he would basically win from there.
Yeah, it's I think it's a really interesting card that you have to like kind of play around, because it can give you a lot of momentum even against a clear board. Just the fact that you turn who is the turn player, the aggressor, so to say.
Yeah.
You can turn it around and give it to yourself.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Cool. Moving on to the Fairy Dragon.
Yes.
Which is basically generic dude, but with benefits.
Yeah.
With all the
basically
to spells
it's
and powers. is really good, especially against stuff like Mage. And
It rapes Mage really, like.
Yeah, it's really good against Mage and Rogue.
And it's
with
not
the-
bad against the others.
Rogue cannot backstab it, and Mage sometimes they want to like just ping 2 turns in a row.
or Frostbolt.
Yeah, or whatever. And this guy, like, it can kill their 1/3, live with 1 HP, and they cannot ping it.
It's really good against Priest as well.
Yeah.
It nullifies the
In
one
general,
free.
it's actually a
That's
pretty good card, I feel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like the generic. It has the generic stats, but it's also like it can be killed by your opponent's spells and stuff. So
Yeah. And we mentioned earlier how more health is usually better, but in Fairy Dragon, the reason why Fairy Dragon is better as a 3/2 is because it's harder to kill with spells. And if you have more attack than health, you usually trade upwards. That means you trade bad with lower drops, but you trade well with like 3 drops or 4 drops or whatever.
yeah,
So in that way, because it has kind of immunity to all these spells and shit, you can usually trade it upwards, which makes it really good. And it's just hard to get rid of, especially if you buff it with all kinds of other shit like defender and stuff.
yeah, and also with the new, it just has lately just gotten a new animation on the spell immunity where it looks like someone peed on it, but
Oh.
that's
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like
Poor little Fairy Dragon.
the other animation was fine as well. I'm not too sure.
yeah. Like I don't know why they changed it. I like the old one better. Like the new one just looks like it's just the card and then there's some yellow shit all over it. Like how are you supposed to guess that's immunity?
Isn't it just the same as before, just a little
Because
more
You
bright?
read the text.
Yeah, you read the card, man.
Yeah. Well.
And it's a dragon with no synergy in that type.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
True.
but
But it's a dragon, so it makes it automatically more cool.
Amazing.
Of course.
So,
So,
next one is Frostwolf
Moving on
Grant.
to the best of the 2-drops.
the
good
old
absolute
Frostwolf
worst
Grant.
of all cards. Oh,
Frostwolf Grant.
Where's
Yeah.
your hater and Wisp?
yeah. Like even Wisp is better than this card.
Okay, this card is trash.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Welcome to Nope Town.
Well, basically,
Nope.
nope.
it has like below average stats. Like it has worse stats, and for those stats, it has taunt, which is basically useless when you have no stats at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, it's just like the 1/2 1-drop with taunt.
Yeah.
What's called the silver
Yeah, the
guy.
Goldshire. Goldshire
yeah.
footman.
Like if you have a taunt with nothing, what is it gonna defend you from? Like it's not gonna kill anything. It's just gonna die. It's not gonna defend you from anything.
This is as good as a taunt totem,
That's
Yeah.
basically. That has 2 attack, but those 2 attack is not gonna do anything. Yeah,
Like
it's
this guy can trade with some 2-drops. And all 1-drops. That's what this guy can do.
Yeah.
This guy can trade with 1-drops.
And
Congratulations.
if
But it's taunt, so
if your opponent plays a 3-drop, then they can kill this card without losing their card, which is like
I think this is isn't this also one of the cards that you can get with the Town Shifts in card? I don't know,
yeah,
House
it
of
is.
Order or something.
the elite,
So
yeah.
so if you play Elite Town Shifts and you get this guy and the opponent get a Tastingo or something, it's
Just concede.
just concede instantly.
Just
Just concede before you start the game
Just
for playing
in-
Town Shifting, but still.
Yeah, in spite of Frostwolf Grant, it's like no,
Yeah.
please don't.
so. Let's quickly move on to the owl, the
owl.
fierce beast.
The Iron League. It's actually
Dots?
it's pretty good. It's
It's a
not
good
generically good, but it's good in some decks. It's good in Beast, no in Hunter, and it's good in I guess. Well,
Basically, this is the closest that you will get to a neutral spell, I think, in this game. Like what this card does is basically
It silences for 2
two,
mana.
2 mana silence something.
You don't really care too much about the minion afterwards.
Yeah.
Not even in Hunter.
Yeah, it will usually get pinged or something. So
Yeah.
it's basically a neutral silence. which is good for some decks. Some decks need it, some decks don't. So yeah. Anything else?
Well, yeah. It's
Like
just,
if you want a cheap silence, this is the card you want to go for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this card has pretty much entirely replaced the 4/3 silence guy
Spellbreaker.
Spellbreaker, which was played a lot before.
I don't know. The Spellbreaker seems like it has more potential as a standalone card, where Iron Beak, because of his low cost, is easier to like combine with something else.
Ancient
Yeah.
Watcher.
Like in Hunter, you play this because of course it's a beast, but also because you can silence something and still like throw something else out and charge in the face.
Yeah.
And in like the Warlock thing, you can throw it down on what's it called?
Ancient Watcher.
Ancient Watcher, hit for 4, trade whatever, and still draw a card with your hero power, and still do whatever else you want to do.
Yeah, actually, I've been using it a lot to silence my own giants if they've been followed the rules.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
that's cool.
It's it's a scenario
Haven't
that
followed the rules.
it happens more often than you think, and
Yeah, it's really good at like silencing your own freeze or something on a minion.
Yeah,
that's
it
true. That
It has a lot of hidden value.
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
And yeah, I think basically how I would define it is a neutral spell.
Yeah.
Basically, like the
Yeah.
closest you would get to that.
Yeah, I guess.
So, moving on to the last card for today, possibly the best card of the two
Knife
drops.
Juggler.
Well, I'd say, looking from an arena's perspective, this card has the highest potential of value.
This card is just the strongest 2-drop in a vacuum. Like, if you only look at the card,
Yeah.
and it's like in itself, this card is always good. Like the 1 damage, sometimes it kills something, so you don't have to trade, and all of a sudden you're an entire minion ahead of your opponent for free. Like he still have the stats.
and the effect.
Some
That's
could
weird.
argue that this card is actually imbalanced, like possibly too good.
Yeah, this card is pretty good, but the reason it's not overly played is because most decks don't play. Like if you play a later, a later deck, there's nothing to spam beside the Knife Juggler, so he's all alone and kind of doing nothing. But if you are playing some kind of aggressive deck like the Zoo, this card is just so strong. So it's kind of balanced in that way that it's like most early drops, very weak in the early game, but he has even less play in the late game. Like Acidic Swarm Boost is really strong late game just for its effect sometimes,
Yeah,
like
Sun
eating a
Fury
Gorehound or
protector.
something. And exactly. Sun Fury is really strong in the late game as well as he can be played in the early, because he can taunt something out and get you back in the game if you are like being rushed or something. Where Knife Juggler, he can also be good late, but he's only good like beyond good early if you play some kind of deck with synergy with it.
Yeah, if you play something with a lot of 1 or 2 drops.
Yeah, exactly.
One thought, could we maybe see this in Hunter? Like, throw this down and then unleash?
There is actually currently I see a lot actually of a Hunter version where they actually play 2 of this card.
Yeah, I've been running into it as well.
And it's not that bad. Like they usually throw it down on turn 2 and then nothing happens, but just the potential of throwing it down and doing unleash and then getting like 5 knives on all of the opponent's stuff.
It's
Yeah.
just like, hey, you get a two free Arcane Explosion. No, not even Arcane Missiles.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
get them for free. Here, you can have them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course he has a good old combo. If you have him on the field and the opponent plays Leroy, then
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe
You
the
get
two
both knives into Leroy.
the 2 whelps that Leroy creates might kill himself. It's pretty annoying. when
And
it happens.
also, if you have 5 wisps in the hand
Yeah.
and you play this card, it's infinite value.
And then you lose because you have no hand.
This card is the best counter to Miracle Rogue.
Why?
It can kill their only win condition, which is Leroy.
Yeah, with that 25%.
Well, he will actually
have-
summon
have
them like
two
a
on the
million
field.
times.
Win.
You
Or-
just
no.
have 2 knife juggler and then you face list 2 more and then you have 4 knife
No,
jugglers.
the thing is, he has to play the Leroy 3 times, right? So like you
Yeah.
have 3
Oh
shots
yeah,
at
that's
it.
true. Yeah, that's true.
But they
True.
will probably remove it, to be
They
fair.
will probably backstab it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like knife juggler is so strong, but just like put it in a deck where he fits. Put him in a early aggro deck, and it's just gonna be the best minion in the deck, basically.
Yeah. It's like it's a 2-drop. So like the stats like generically make it
Yeah.
fair. So like it dies to a lot of things, and usually like most of the time you will actually just basically have a 3/2.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the effect gives it potential to actually be completely amazing.
Yeah.
It's like Gadget's an auctioneer, right? Just that this guy has appropriate stats.
Yeah, Gadgeton has lower
misses
stats.
3
Yeah.
stats.
So yeah. Generally
I guess
really
that's
amazing.
Yeah, it's a good card.
Yep. I think that's it for the 2-drops this time.
Yeah.
And actually also it for the podcasts. So
Yeah, I think we are done.
any closing words, Henry?
Oh, I don't know. What should I say? Go out there, play some cards, rake the ladder, and have fun.
Break some hearts.
Yeah.
Also that. But you'll not break hearts if you play Hearthstone. It's a trade-off that we all have to deal with every day, but it's worth it. Because Hearthstone
Unless
is
you
amazing.
find a girl that's into that sort of stuff.
To get their hearts broken or what?
Yeah.
I'm so into that. Well, yeah. Just
Michael?
make sure to get to rank 20 in every season, because you're gonna like. I think you might be a little sour if you miss.
Guys, be sure to get to Legend every season. I'll see you there.
I agree with Christopher. He's a wise man.
I was talking
Bye-bye.
to the majority, but yeah. Goodbye and have fun.
Well,
Yeah.
until next time.
Adios.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.